All in all, Thursday the 17th of April. Just sat in my garden at the moment. Just got back with the boys. They literally had 20 minutes. A bit too warm today, so then we'll get a couple of little walks, then we'll get a lead walk later. So this is going to be the first of my opinions or what I would be looking for on dog services as such. Today we're going to start with dog walkers. As I've said before, this is based on my opinion. If I was looking to use a dog walker for my dogs, what would I be looking for? What questions would I be asking? And what would be red flags for me to avoid? So to start this process, I know quite a few dog walkers. They always seem very busy and people always seem very happy. So this is not anti-dog walker, this is just my opinion. So to start the process, what would I consider red flags? I appreciate times are hard, but people put in, I'm looking to earn extra money, so if you want your dog walked, drop me a message. Absolute no-no. I'll explain all this and why. That's a definite no-no for me. Because if I'm looking to earn extra money and I say I'll look after your kids, you're going to ask for some checks, and you should do the same for your dogs. Secondly, there is an app which I've become aware of called Rover. So on that app, I looked at dog walkers within a 5-mile radius of where I live, and there's about 40. Now all of them have the same profile, and it all reads, when I was younger, we always had a dog, and I quite often used to go around to my friends, they had a dog, and we used to play with the dog. I'm a dog lover, I'm passionate about dogs. Yeah, great. As I've said before, when I was a kid, I helped my best mate's dad dig footings. Don't make me a builder. I helped my parents cut the lawns. Don't make me a landscape gardener. Absolute no way. Not a Scooby. Not a chance are they ever looking after my dogs. And I'll touch on it briefly, but I will make a separate video on this subject. The moment you give your dog to a dog walker, if they're out on a walk and something worst case scenario happens and your dog bites a person or another dog, the dog walker's insurance is liable for any costs. But if the police are involved, they're coming after you. The dog walker is in control, but as the owner, it's your responsibility. So if they do a dog behavioural contract, that will fall with you. So your dog will be after you long-lined and on the muzzle for the rest of its life. Worst case scenario, if they come and seize your dog, which they will be legally entitled to do, and it's happening daily all over the country, seizing dogs and very little evidence, that dog's still in, dogs are in kennels, that cost will come at you, not the dog walker. Because if you haven't done your checks, that's your responsibility. Greatest respect, it's like leaving your child with a babysitter and you haven't done any checks. If something goes wrong, you can shout and bawl all you want, but you've gone with a babysitter just because they were cheap. So that's that. So what would I be looking for? So my first question to a dog walk would be, how long have you been doing it? What experience have you got? If you own dogs, if so, what breeds? Were your dogs friendly? Were they not friendly? Have you ever had a reactive dog? Do you walk reactive dogs? Do you do one-to-one dog walks? All this sort of stuff. Just because they say I've got public liability insurance doesn't make it any good, does it? Because what you've got to bear in mind is when you take public liability insurance, so when I take out mine, they ask me how long I've been doing it, what type of dogs I work with, how many dogs I work with at a time, blah, blah, blah. So if I tell them I work with one-to-ones and I do group sessions once a month, but in between that I do a one-to-one, but I have 3 dogs and something goes wrong, my insurance have already told me they won't pay out because I've lied to get the policy. So that's the other thing I've got to bear in mind is public liability is only as good as the information they've passed on. Anyway, so if I'm after that dog walker and I say for argument's sake I have a Rottweiler, because I used to have one, and I say it's dog reactive, can you do a one-to-one walk? Yeah, they can. Good. Could you explain to me what would happen if an off-lead dog was running towards you and my dog? How are you going to stop my dog from getting into trouble because he's reactive, even though it's on a long line and muzzled, and B, how are you going to stop the other dog from having a go at my dog? Now, some might say I could turn and walk away, which is very good in a local area. But if you imagine you're in the middle of a common or a beacon, it's not that easy to turn and walk away because the dog's still coming. So I'd want to know how many dogs they walk at a time. If they walk more than 6 in a group pack, to be fair, I wouldn't be interested. I would probably want one-to-one for mine, and I appreciate that would be slightly more expensive, but sometimes you get what you pay for, don't you? If my dog's reactive, I'd ask them to walk it ideally away from where there's other dogs. If my dog has no recall, I'd want it on a long line. So again, you probably want to go somewhere minimal dogs, and you can just get out, have a nice walk, dogs burn some energy, etc, etc. Now, if your dogs are good off lead, they're not reactive, and they enjoy pat walks, absolutely. But again, I would only go with somebody who's got a maximum of 6 dogs on a walk, because more than that, it is almost impossible to keep your eye on all of them. The other side of things would be, I would be saying to a dog walker, is your van marked up and signed as dog walking van? Again, I'd be tempted to stay away from that. Why? Because at some point they've got to go and get another dog from somebody's house, and if the undesirable people in this country that like to steal dogs, and there's plenty out there, all they do is they watch the van. At some point, the person walking those dogs has got to go to somebody's house to get a dog out, and there's going to be dogs in that van. Very easy to steal. And if I'm giving you my dogs to look after, I don't want anyone to know. So I would always go for somebody who's got a plain van. No markings, nothing. What else would I be looking for? How's their van kitted out? If they just gone and bought some dog crates from the shop and they tight bungee clipped them together, no, because in a crash that's not going to hold. Or properly fitted cages, they're all crash tested anyway, and that's what I'd be looking for. Now, some people will go, you're going beyond, but I'm ticking the box. So should anything go wrong, I can wholeheartedly say I did all my research and the buck falls with the dog walker. Because at the end of the day, it does. The moment you pass it on, you take your children to a registered childminder, and something goes wrong, you can hold them to account because they're registered, they passed the criteria, job done. But I bet before you pass them over, you did some research on that childminder or that company. But it's the same process with dog walkers. Or anything to do with the dog industry, really. So, these are sort of things I'd be looking for. But please, don't go for the cheapest. Don't go for somebody who's just looking to run an extra buck. And I appreciate time at the moment. Money is tight for a lot of people. But you're just asking for trouble. It's no point, what's the old saying my mum used to say? No point crying over spilt milk. Well, if you just go with the cheapest and it all goes wrong, there's no point shouting, bawling and pointing the finger of blame then, because the blame lies with you. Everyone says, oh, dog's part of my family. You know, the dog I go on all day, I take the dog with me. All this stuff. But if that's the case, then do some proper research and get somebody who you think has the ability, the skill set, the qualifications, although they're not always the main thing, qualifications, because knowledge is key, and the common sense to look after your dog when it's in their care. Make sure they're walking it as they've pre-agreed with you for the pre-agreed price and the pre-agreed time, the same as you would a child. I just don't get it. Anyway, when it comes to dog walkers, I know quite a few. I don't know them as in because I've never used them, but I see them out and about on walks. Some couple of people who've had lessons with me with their own dogs are dog walkers. They're doing very well, and the fact they're doing very well says a lot about them, because I always say, like, word of mouth is key. But that's what I'd be looking for with the dog walkers. My next video that I will probably make over the weekend is going to be on dog boarding and kennels. If you have any questions on dog walkers that I haven't answered, I think I've covered it, I don't want to make it too long, the video, then please message me away. All I'm saying is do your research, so the moment you hand your, whether it be a puppy, a rescue, or your work's changed, you need the dog walker to come in, do your research. Because again, if they're coming to your house and letting themselves in, they need to be really DBS checked as well, don't they? You don't be able to trust them in your house. Do your research, then it won't go, it won't go wrong, because there are people out there at the moment that are finding out the hard way. Anyway, that's the one on dog walkers. Like I say, got any questions, message me anytime, and I'll try and answer them. But if not, I hope this is a little bit helpful to you all, and I'll make another one over the weekend on dog board and dog kennels. Take care all. Have a great day.